Alright, here we go again with another edition of SoulsBorne Battle to the Death. We're going to pick two random SoulsBorne bosses, and then we're going to analyze them in hopefully an entertaining fashion, and then we are going to see who would beat the other. Because that is the name of the game. Alright. Coming down the aisle is contestant number 1, and it is Udex Gundyr. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly, but you guys know who I'm talking about. This is the first iteration of Gundyr in Dark Souls 3 that has the pus of man bursting out of him, which is just a visual that we all needed in our days. He's the first boss. He's tough. He's tough for being the first boss. I mean, Dark Souls 3 didn't play around. It just threw you right into the fire. And that was basically it. I mean, once you get the hang of him, he can be dealt with. And once again, I want to reiterate that when I look at these these bosses, I try to look at them as evenly as possible, considering, Gundyr's the first boss of the game. And if I were to put them up against Soul of Cinder, I would try to even them out. Obviously, as they are in the games, Soul of Cinder would annihilate Udex Gundyr. But once again, trying to keep it even. Alright, we have Udex Gundyr in one corner, and we're going to spin this wheel again to see who is going to be in the other corner. I love SoulsBorne Battle to the Death. So much fun. So much fun. That last one was particularly fun. Last episode. It's like, what the hell is that? Anyway, Udex Gundyr in one corner, and the other corner it is going to be Murgo's Wet Nurse from Bloodborne. I don't think this is much of a contest either, but, once again, I contractually agreed to an analysis portion of the show. So we are going to go to that analysis right now, and then I'm going to give you my verdict shortly thereafter. So the tragic story of Udex Gundyr is actually just one in a long line of tragic stories in SoulsBorne games. The way I remember it, Gundyr was a lord of Lothric and was destined to be the champion, or a champion, and light the first flame and do all that stuff. Somewhere along the way, he fell into an abyss and ended up in a time, like a time void where time stands still or some shit. And he ended up in a time where the Firelink Shrine had no fire, and when he showed up, the bell didn't toll, and his Firekeeper was found dead. So that was the time he was stranded in, and then somewhere along the way he gets defeated by an unknown warrior and becomes a sheath for a coiled sword, and he becomes a test for anyone who is looking to light the first flame or relight the first flame or whatever. So he is he's the first boss in the game, so basically he's a test. If you pass the test, then I guess you move on to the next test. Murgo's Wet Nurse, you'll be shocked to find, is a wet nurse of the infant Murgo, who is the source of the Nightmare of Mensis. There's really not a whole lot of lore on him/her, but she does have 6 skeletal arms and 2 broken wings or whatever, which I guess indicates that he or she is a different race than what they pretend to be. And each one of those 6 skeletal arms eventually has a katana in them. So that just makes this fight even more fun. As I said earlier, I try to look at these fights from as equally as possible. So, Udex Gundyr being the first boss, obviously he's weaker because he's going to be fighting a level 7 or 8 or whatever, whatever level you're at by the time you get there. So I try to look at things on an even more playing field, and I think on a level playing field, I think this would be a good fight, because Gundyr, especially in that second phase when the Pus of Man takes effect, he's much more aggressive. And Murgos Wetners is very tough and has a lot of tricks up his or her sleeve. So I think this would be a good fight, but I think Murgos Wetners takes it in the end. And I think if these guys fought 10 times, I think Murgos Wetners would take it 7 times out of 10. So that is just my opinion, but feel free to leave yours in the comments. I think that's a very interesting fight, and maybe one I'd like to watch someday if someone wants to put that together, if someone hasn't already put that together. Thank you all so much for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, and notifications and all that stuff. You can go to robertblanchardbooks.com and check out my books. You can read the first 3 chapters of each book there for free. If you'd like to hear more about them, you can listen to the Rise of Dragons podcast wherever you find your favorite podcasts. You can go to my Linktree at Bobby's World 2110 and find links to everything that is associated with me. Facebook pages for all the books, the author page, the podcast page, the Facebook page for this YouTube channel, which is generally where I post new videos. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Bobby's World 2110. And that is going to do it. So until next week, I hope everyone has an amazing week. Be well, stay safe, and as always, it's Bobby's World, and you're all just living in it. See y'all Steve alive, y'all. Bye. What's going on, guys? Thank you for checking out the video today, but I got a question for you. Did you know I wrote a book? Did you know I wrote 3 books? Did you know that they're all part of the same series? The Roar of a Dragon, The Treachery of a Weasel, and The Cry of a Raven. ReadersFavorite.com says that its intensity rivals that of the Game of Thrones series. Now, I personally think that's crazy, but it's not for me to judge. It's for you to judge. Go to robertblanchardbooks.com and you can check out the books right now. But wait, that's not all. All 3 books got 5-star reviews in ReadersFavorite.com. These books won the Silver Medal in the Literary Titan Awards. The Cry of a Raven won Silver at the Global eBook Awards. So what are you waiting for? Read about Aiden's dream to become a Knight of Delmar. Read about his death and resurrection. Oops, I gave that away, didn't I? And read about his journey back home from 3,000 years in the future to stop the evil that started in Delmar. Go to robertblanchardbooks.com. You can read the first 3 chapters of each book there for free. And then, if you're interested, you can buy the books there as well. And if you've already read the books or you just want to hear more about them, you can check out the Rise of Dragons podcast. You can listen to it wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. And in every episode, I cover a character from the book, an event from the book, my journey into writing, and everything in between. Ripley, what do you got to say about all this?
Give me a treat or I will end you.
You know she's telling you to check out the books. Go to robertblanchardbooks.com to check out the books or listen to the Rise of Dragons podcast if you want to hear about them. That's all I got to say, and thank you for watching this video.